To my class once again. So in my last class I already explained about the LICOG classification of government. So today I draw the flow chart of the classification of government by LICOG. So first, the LICOG classification of government is considered to be as a modern classification and it is acceptable by all. And again, the government is mainly divided into two parts, that is democracy and dictatorship. Yes, so again the modern, that is democracy, is again divided into two parts, that is limited monarchy and republic. So again, these limited monarchy and republic is further divided into unitary form of government and federal form of government. So again, this unitary form of government and federal form of government is again divided into two parts, that is parliamentary form of government and presidential form of government. So in the next, in the later part, we will discuss the part by part explanation of these four types of democratic government, namely unitary form of government, federal form of government, parliamentary form of government and presidential form of government. And today we will discuss about this part, that is the parliamentary form of government. So parliamentary form of government is one of the important type of the democratic form of government, we can say, which is classified by the LICOG. Now, this parliamentary form of government, which is classified by the LICOG, so on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature, these form of government came into being. Okay, this is the relationship between the executive and legislature. So one thing we have to know that what is executive and legislature. So the government is divided into three branches. Yes, three organs you can say, or three branches we can say. So when the government is divided into three branches, so what are the three branches? Executive, legislature and judiciary. So these parliamentary form of government came into being on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature. So executive, so what is executive? Yes, executive, it consists of the president, prime minister, yes, and the legislature, it is responsible for law making, and legislature is mainly responsible for executing the laws or implementing the laws which are made by the legislature. For example, within executive we can talk about the president, we can talk about the prime minister. So here in legislature, so what is legislature? Legislature, it is composed of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha and different legislative assembly. So this legislature is mainly responsible for making laws. And judiciary, so judiciary, it composed of High Court, it consists of Supreme Court, and they are mainly related to the justice, they are mainly related to judicial activities. So these three organs or these three branches of the government, so on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature, these parliamentary form of government came into being, and it is classified by the LICOG on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature. Now one example we can see where the first country to have a parliamentary form of government, we can say about the United Kingdom, or we can say England. So England was the first country to have the existence of parliamentary form of government for the first time. So if the question comes in your exam, name the country who have the parliamentary form of government for the first time, then we'll have to refer to England. So England is considered to be as the first country to have the existence of parliamentary form of government. And this parliamentary form of government came into being on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature. Now we'll have to proceed to the features of parliamentary form of government. The first feature is that two heads are present. So what is two head? Head of the state and head of the government. So in parliamentary form of government, two heads are present. One is considered to be as a head of the state and another is considered to be as a head of the government. So in parliamentary form of government, who is the head of the state? Yes, the head of the state in parliamentary form of government, we can talk about the president. Yes, we can talk about the king or a queen. They are considered to be as a head of the state. But the head of the government, so who is the head of the government? We can say the council of minister headed by the prime minister. And this head of the state is considered to be as a nominal executive. Yes. And this real executive, who is real executive? The council of minister headed by the prime minister. We can talk about the prime minister, the head of the government, and we can talk. So in India, if we give the example, two heads are present, because in India also we have the parliamentary form of government. Yes. So in India, if we look into the scenario of India's consideration, then we will notice that head of the state is the president. Yes, and head of the government is the prime minister. Okay. Now in England, when we talk about the England, the head of the state is the king or queen. We can say about the queen, and again the head of the government is the prime minister. And this head of the state, who is king, queen or a president, they are considered to be as a nominal executive, but the head of the government, who is considered to be as a council of minister headed by the prime minister, they are called to be as a real executive, because actually the government is run according to them. Actually all the powers are vested in the hands of the head of the government, not in the head of the state. Okay, so therefore the council of minister headed by the prime minister, they are called to be as a real executive, because in reality all the powers are enjoyed by them, not by the head of the state, that is president, or we can say king or queen. So this is the one of the important feature of the parliamentary form of government. Then the next important feature is that close relationship between the executive and legislature. So since this form of government came into being on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature, so we witness there is a close relationship between the executive and legislature. The cordial and corporate relationship exists between the executive and the legislature. So this is the another important feature of the parliamentary form of government. There existed a mutual understanding, there existed the close cooperation, close understanding or close relationship between the executive and the legislature, these two branches of the government. Then the third important features of parliamentary form of government is collective responsibility of the council of minister to the legislature. Okay, so you see the collective responsibility. Okay, the council of ministers. Yes, the council of minister, I already told you that council of minister headed by the prime minister, they are called to be as a real executive. Yes, all the powers are really enjoyed by them. So these council of minister headed by the prime minister, they are collectively responsible to the legislature. Means they are collectively responsible to the legislature means what? So in legislature, the MPs are there, so they will ask different type of questions regarding the activities of the ministers, or regarding the works of the minister, and the ministers, the council of minister, they have to reply each and every questions to the MPs, those who are present in the legislature. So we can say that the collective responsibility of the council of minister to the legislature, they are collectively responsible. They have to answer each and every question raised by the MPs of the legislature, because the council of ministers, they are the ministers of different departments or in different fields. So the legislature will know the MPs are present from the opposition party also and from the ruling party also. So they will ask or they will raise the different type of questions on several matters. So and these council of ministers, they will have to prove it, that they will have to prove their work, they will have to answer each and every questions to the MPs, those who are raised on different grounds, and therefore they are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, or we can say legislature. Okay, so these are some of the important features of the parliamentary form of government. Then one more feature is that if the no confidence motion, okay, so now you see, if this collective responsibility of the council of minister to the legislature, we can say, so the legislature can move the no confidence motion, yes, against the Council of Minister. So now how the legislature can move the this no confidence motion against the Council of Minister? Because you see, any member in the Lok Sabha, they can pass the no confidence motion against the Council of Minister. But in that term, you know, this Council of Minister have to prove its confidence. Then in that matter, when the no confidence motion is moved by any member of the Lok Sabha, so in that issue, you know, this the Council of Minister, they have to prove its confidence. They have to prove its majority in the House. Is that clear? Because you see, the Council of Minister, the no confidence motion, okay, the no confidence motion is an important tool in the hands of the member of Lok Sabha. So they can use that tool or they can use that weapon against the Council of Minister in the floor, in that floor of House. So when the no confidence motion is basically used by any member of the Lok Sabha, and why if they pass that no confidence motion, yes, then these the opposition party, therefore if that no confidence motion is passed, so in that case what happened? The Council of Ministers, they have to prove its majority in that particular House. Okay, so this no confidence motion is an important tool in the hands of the member of Lok Sabha, and that tool can be used by any member of the Lok Sabha against the Council of Minister. So therefore the Council of Minister, they have to prove its majority in the House, yes, if that no confidence motion is moved. So therefore they are collectively responsible to the legislature. Therefore, they are collectively responsible to the legislature, because if any member of the House moved a no confidence motion, then they have to prove the entire, they have to prove the majority in that House. Otherwise, that will lead to the complete failure or breakdown of the entire ministry. Okay, if they are not able to fulfill or if they are not able to prove its majority in the House, then that will ultimately lead to the failure of the whole ministry. So therefore, they have to be collectively responsible to the legislature, because if any member pass that motion, then it will and if they are not able to fulfill or if they are not able to prove its majority in that House, then that will ultimately lead to the failure of the entire ministry. So these are some of the features of parliamentary form of government. Now we will discuss about the merits of parliamentary form of government. Merit of parliamentary form of government is that there exists a close and cordial relationship between the executive and legislature. For the first time also I mentioned that this government is formed on the basis of relationship between the executive and legislature, because there exists a very cordial and close relationship between these two branches of the government, and if the legislature faces some problem, that problem can be easily solved by passing a law by the legislature. Because how it can be there, why it is possible? Because since it exists a good relationship between these two branches of the government, because if the problem arises in case of the executive, yes, in the different fields of the executive, then that problem can be easily solved by the legislature by passing the law. So that is possible only because there exists a good relationship between the two. Then again the second one is that cannot act in a dictatorial manner. Now you see, cannot act in a dictatorial manner. Who cannot act in a dictatorial manner? In parliamentary form of the government, the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, they cannot act in a dictatorial manner. Because you know why they cannot act in a dictatorial manner? Because they are collectively responsible to the legislature. Yes, if they act in a dictatorial manner or if they go against the interest of the people, then that will be severely criticized. Yes, there will be raised different type of questions by the members of opposition party in the legislature. So therefore they are bound to be act in support of the people, or they are bound to act for the welfare of the people. The Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister, they cannot act in a dictatorial manner, or they cannot go against the interest of the people. Whatever they are doing, they have to work according to the interest of the people. They have to consider the demands and wishes of the people, actually what they one. Yes, so this is the another feature of a parliamentary form of government. The third one is that they cannot go against the interest of the people. Yes, they cannot go against the interest of the people, because you all know the prime minister, the council of minister, these are indirectly elected by the people, so they cannot go against the interest of the people. Yes, they assume the power, they get the power only because of the people. Yes, so therefore they cannot go against the interest of the people. And if they go against the interest of the people, then there is because they are accountable to the legislature. Yes, they cannot go against the interest of the people, because they are, this council of minister, or we can say this executive, is accountable to the legislature. So if they go against the interest of the people, then the MPs, those who are present in the legislature, in the Lok Sabha, they will raise the different type of questions. Yes, they will point out the different loopholes. They will point out their faults. Yes, they will point out why they are going against the people, why they are not taking into the consideration of the interest of the people. So therefore they cannot go against the interest of the people. They have to work they have to work for the welfare of the people. And the fourth important point is that give due importance to the public opinion. Yes, whatever the public want, public opinion means what? The opinion which are given by the general people. Yes, they are giving due importance to the public opinion, because if they are not giving the importance to the, or if they are not giving the weightage to the public opinion, then they will face the severe criticism from the opposition party. We all know there exists a opposition party. So if they are not giving importance to the opinion, or if they are not giving importance to the views of the general public, or if they are not giving weightage to them, then therefore they will have to face the severe criticism from the opposition party. So therefore they are bound to give the importance to the public opinion. So these are some of the merits of the parliamentary form of government. Now we will discuss about the demerits of the parliamentary form of government. This parliamentary form of government. So another important demerit, important demerits is that party consideration given much more weightage. They are giving the party consideration. Yes, the party consideration is given much more importance. Okay, and the political squabbles which arises among the different political party was given much more importance, and they make the politics which is quite not unacceptable by the others, because you see the party consideration. Yes, they are giving more weightage to the politics of different political parties. Okay, and because of that, since they gave the more importance to the politics of the different political parties, therefore the actual politics, the main motive of the politics is remain aloof, or it's remain stay away, or it's remain far away from the actual thing or from the actual work. They are given only to the squabbles which are arising among the members of the different political parties. They are giving only that much of importance to those political parties. They are not giving the actual working. Yes, in reality they must have to give to those things, but instead of that they are giving much more importance to the party politics. Okay, instead of satisfying the people, instead of doing the welfare work for the people, they are mainly concentrated in the party politics, where the political squabbles which arises among the different political party, which is the another demerit of the parliamentary form of government. The second is that the party cannot be changed before 5 years. Suppose if one political party formed the government, okay, and if that political party, or if that ministers, prime minister, they neglected the interest of the people, they have to wait for 5 years. Before 5 years, they cannot change the government. Okay, they'll have to wait for 5 years. The voters, they do not have any other options, but they have to wait for the 5 years, and after 5 years, in the next election, they can elect or they can throw that particular government. But before 5 years, the voters, they don't have any other alternative. Even if the council of minister, even if the prime minister, they neglected their interest. So is the another demerit. The another demerit is the no strict separation of power. I also mentioned you that parliamentary form of government, between the relationship between the executive and legislature that government came into being. But therefore we see that in parliamentary form of government there is a no strict separation of power. The executive, the problem is solved by passing a law by the legislature, since there exists a close relationship or cordial relationship between these two organs of the government. Since these two, there is no strict separation of power. Executive can interfere in the works of legislature, and legislature can also interfere in the works of executive. So that is the which will lead to the which will lead to the different creation of different problems in the branches of the government, because since there is no strict separation, yes, between the branches of the government, executive, legislature. So executive can interfere in the legislature also, since there is no separation, since there is no differences, therefore ultimately it will lead to the difficulties in handling the different works. So this is the another demerit, no strict separation. An alliance system which is temporary in nature. So in parliamentary form of government, what happens? The political party which get the absolute majority, they can form the government. Suppose if one political party is not able to form the government, then they can make the alliance with some another political party. So that alliance system is basically temporary in nature, because sometimes what happens, it creates some political chaos among the alliance member, or you can ally members. There arise some political chaos, so which is very temporary in nature. So that is the another important demerits of the parliamentary form of government. Then another is that the last one is inexperienced ministers. The portfolios are distributed. Portfolio means what? A category. For example, the health minister, the food minister, yes. Then again we can say education minister, finance minister. So different portfolios are given to the different MPs. So whenever these portfolios are given, some ministers are not experienced to handle their department. So they have to completely depend on the bureaucrats. Yes, we have the bureaucrats are the experienced, the officials. Yes, we can say the IS officers and all. They are considered to be as a bureaucrats. So these ministers are exclusively depend on those bureaucrats for the different conducting of different type of activities. Since they are extremely dependent on the bureaucrats, this the reality it come to know that it is considered to be as a bureaucratic form of the government. Actually, this parliamentary form of government, what we are saying, but in reality they are considered to be as a bureaucratic form of government, because the portfolios which are allocated to the different ministers, yes, for example the health minister, finance minister, education minister, so they are different portfolios. So when these are attributed to the different ministers, so since the particular ministers are not experienced in that field, so they have to completely rely on the bureaucrats, and these bureaucrats are what happen, they are very, very experienced, they are qualified. So therefore they are actually, since the ministers are completely rely on them, so we term them to be as the bureaucratic in nature. So this is the another demerit of the political parliamentary form of government, because the ministers, the works are completely performed by these bureaucrats, and which in turn it will be considered as the bureaucratic in nature, because those bureaucrats, they dominate the different field, not by these portfolios which are allocated to them. So therefore this is the another demerit of the parliamentary form of government. So this is for today. In my next class I will explain about the presidential form of government. Thank you.